Thank you for this evening time. Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good
Yes.
evening.
So it took me a couple of minutes more because I clicked on the other link.
No problem. It happens to me.
See, because it got buried in so many other emails.
Yes. Yes, Shireen, carry on.
Yes, so hello everyone. I'm Sharon Raj. I'm a reporter with the Citizen Matters working for Mumbai. First of all, welcome everyone. And in today's webinar, we are going to discuss about a very prominent issue which most of the young adults between the age of 14 to 18 are facing. That is the stress and anxiety related to what career path do they choose, especially in this day and age where there is a variety of choices. I mean, it's not like how earlier there was, there was this specific thing regarding engineering or medical, but now there is so much in front of them, and that makes them more anxious as to what do I do exactly, how do I put my talents into use or capitalize on it. So yes, so today we have our panelists here. But before we dive into the webinar, I would like our Mumbai editor, Prachi Pingle, to just give us a short brief about us here at Citizen Matters and what we do. Yeah, on to you. Thanks, Prachi.
So yeah, thank you very much. And as I said, thank you very much for joining panelists and participants. I hope this discussion is fruitful to all of us. So I'll take just a minute just to give you a brief introduction of what we do. Some of you may already know. Some of you may be new. Citizen Matters is a civic media platform that basically serves as a knowledge exchange with insightful reports on critical urban issues. We are focused on urban basically urban areas, cities. We are in Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, and we have a national chapter. We have insightful reports on urban issues. We dive deep into issues that affect quality of our life, such as water, commute, public safety, education, labor reforms, economy, governance, environment, and so on. So we basically try to bring together the civic media, data, and diverse voices from citizens across, to help citizens basically build a sustainable and equitable and livable cities. We provide in-depth information and insights on various issues to facilitate the understanding, and also we try to provide the tools for citizens to become change makers. Right. So from every discussion that we have or an article that we publish, we would like to have takeaways that citizens could make use of and further, either use it for total societal work or for themselves also. So I would like to hand it over to Shireen from here, and let us start the discussion without wasting much time. Yes, carry on.
Thank you, Prachi. So first of all, I'll begin with the introduction of our panelists for today. We have 4 panelists with us, starting with Dr. Rajendra Shinde. He is the current principal at St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and he has been in various senior positions for the last 40 years at the esteemed college. Also, he has started various new programs in the college, such as Masters in Big Data Analytics, Astrophysics, Lifespan Counseling, Bachelor's in Arts, Bachelor's in Accounts and Finance, PG Diploma in Expressive Art Therapy, and Travel and Tourism. Courses that we don't really hear of, but he has introduced these courses at St. Xavier's. So welcome, Dr. Shinde. We are so happy to have you here among us today, and we hope to get some useful insights from you. Moving on to us. Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Moving on to our second panelist, we have Dr. Saida Ruksheda. She's a psychiatrist and she specializes in cases related to adolescents, young adults, women, and families. She's an author, a media expert, and also a TEDx speaker. So thank you, Dr. Saida, for joining us. We're so happy to have you here.
My pleasure. Lovely to be here.
Thank you, Doctor. Then we have Sumit Jain. He's the co-founder of YOKIT, which is the largest community of study abroad aspirants. So Sumit has been working in the field of education since the last 14 years, and he's a strong believer in education and is currently also leading the business and partnership sector at YOKIT. He helps a lot of students to choose a career path and helps them how to deal with it financially as well. So welcome, Sumit. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, we have, and the last and the youngest member of our panelists here is Harshi Mehta. She's a student. We really insisted on having a student on our panelists, which helps us to get a point of view from their side as well. So we have Harshi Mehta here. She's currently pursuing designing. She's in the first year of her college, and she's pursuing her bachelor's degree in designing from ISTI, Mumbai. And her family is not from a humanities background family in the sense in their career choices, but she chose a career which was not the one that was there among that, and she wanted to do something that she was passionate about. So it would be really great to hear her journey and how she decided to choose this career path. So yes, I welcome all of the panelists today, and we hope that we have a fruitful discussion, and there could be some solutions and some takeaways that at the end of the seminar we could help students, parents, and teachers in guiding students to choose a proper career path. Yes. So I think we should begin. So I'll begin with the youngest member, Harshi. So yes, Harshi, I would like to ask you the very basic question, that is, how did you decide to take this course? Were you worried while choosing it, in case what could the future be when you take this course? Or, just take us through your journey and how you came to choose this career. Yeah.
I don't see Harshi. Has she logged out? She was here,
Maybe
like,
technical issue.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there she is. Yes.
Hi,
Harshi,
Harshi.
can you hear us?
Yeah, there was issue from my side. I'm so sorry for it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Were
Can
you
you
able to
just,
hear my
yeah.
question?
No, actually, I got logged out before you
I'll
introduced me.
repeat it. No problem. So yeah, I just wanted to ask you if you could take us through your journey of choosing this career path that you have chosen. You have chosen the designing course, and what made you choose it, and were you worried about how it will be in future? Just take us through your journey. Yeah.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Harshi Mehta, and thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone. First of all, congratulations to all the students who passed with flying colors. I'm very proud of you. And to begin with, I initially chose arts after my 10th standard. So choosing arts was something very different because none of my family members or no one from my family had taken arts. So in order to take arts, I had to research a lot. So while researching, I talked to a lot of seniors and a lot of different people. And then I even asked them what is the scope after taking arts. So in that process, I got to know that designing is something, a very happening field nowadays. And then I got to know about designing and I researched a bit about it. I even had a friend whose dad was in JJ School of Arts. I personally talked to him about my interests, my likes, my dislikes. And then he told me to give it a shot and give, fill forms for the exam. And yeah, and then I gave I filled the form and I actually eventually got into a design college. And yeah, since no one from my family was also from a design background, it was difficult to convince them also that I want to take a designing career which they haven't even heard of. Even today, when I am in design college, my parents are still clueless about what I'm doing, but they have that confidence in me that she'll do the right thing. So yeah, and even the course was something financially challenging for my parents. So I had to think a lot about it, and as a result, I talked to a lot of people, and they even told me that in the end, it's all about your passion and how much you are willing to give to that course. Um, so yeah, this was overall my journey, and I talk to a lot of people. I suggest that you should actually talk to a lot of people and explore yourself. You shouldn't limit to the options which are actually there. And trust me, if your friends are doing a certain course, it's not that since your friends are doing, you cannot do it. Search about it, see what interests you the most, and then go ahead with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So during this time, what was the support that you were expecting from your family, from your friends? Do you get that sort of support? And what do you think? Is there like a sort of a plan that you think students should, implement, like start researching, talk to people? Like, did you do something like that, like specific when you, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely my parents were very supportive because they knew that I'll work hard for anything I'll do. Initially, I was planning to do BA psychology. I wanted to do psychology majors, but eventually I realized after doing 11, 12 that psychology is something I like doing, but I'm not like. But when I do designing and drawing, it is something that makes me actually happy. So for students, I suggest that you really need to be self-aware about your likes and dislikes. Start thinking about your likes, that why do you like certain things, and that why also depends on you. Okay, it shouldn't be like that just because your friends are doing it and that's why I'll do, and then I like it because I want to be with their company, or just because my parents like it I have to like it. See it, like, look inside yourself and see why do you like it. The first step is first know your interest, know your likes, and then eventually come to a decision that after a certain age, will I be happy doing this? So as I told you, I was supposed to do psychology majors, but then I opted out of it, and then I joined a design college. But since I like to study, I like to learn theory, so I'm doing my BA through correspondence, that is long distance education. So in some way, I'm doing my theory part also, like I'm fulfilling that interest also, but in full time I'm doing design. So I feel that there is always a midway, so you need to explore that by talking to people. Use social media. We all are good at social media. I still remember I found so many mutuals, and then I texted them on Instagram and can you please suggest me, can you guide me? And people are very happy to guide them, because nowadays no one actually takes that effort to go ahead and do a field which is different. So if you're doing it, and that is a very good thing. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
So I would like to ask Dr. Shinde about how she said that students should pursue what they like, and they should try to understand what drives them, and that they should try to convert into a career. So you have had an experience of 40 years as an educator. So and when there are a variety of career choices out there, how do you think the youth can capitalize on it?
I think first of all, I should congratulate Harshit. Okay, what right kind of thinking has gone in for selecting the career in design. I wish I had all my students like that. Harshit, that was a wonderful thing. Yeah, and coming to your question, Charlene, can you ask me again? Can you just repeat the question?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask that now that the students have this this variety of choices out there for it into a career. So when there are so many choices, how do the students capitalize on the choices? How do they make the right decision? How can you guide them? What can you like as an educator?
Half of them don't make right choices. Okay.
Yeah.
I often ask many,
Yeah.
this is admission time.
Hmm.
And whole day I've been meeting parents and students who have not got into the merit list, and then they would come and ask me for management quota or something. So I keep asking them, why only St. Xavier's College? And they just say, no, but this is the best college. Okay. I'm happy to hear that my college is the best, but in fact, one should do exactly what Harshit says. I had one parent coming to me yesterday. Maybe this was a language issue, and I asked her, why are you insisting? The way they insist is, no, yahi college mein karna hai, ye mera dream college hai. ये इसमें नहीं करेगा तो मैं छोड़ दूंगा. So that छोड़ दूंगा wala was another case. But this person said, no, Xavier's. So I said, why only Xavier's? Then she said, no, I live at one place and this is a very straightforward journey, very close to the station, and therefore I wish to do it here. The mother came up with very funny or rather hilarious excuse, saying, "Hum aya yahan, hum," in their old tutti-futti Hindi Bengali language. And he said, "Hum aya, aapko dekha, aapka college dekha, hame bahut pasand aaya. So इसीलिए मेरी लड़की यही पढ़ेगी." Sometimes, you don't know how to react to these kind of issues. The girl who said, I will leave my education, I was a little angry, but with a smile on my face, I said, fine, leave the education. It doesn't affect me, it affects you. And you are the loser at the end. So think twice. So for me, I have to do a lot of counseling. I have to ask them what exactly you wish to do in your life. People sometimes ask me, I want to do only microbiology. So why do you want to do only microbiology? No, my friend is doing microbiology. Or they don't know exactly what microbiology is. So the counseling needs to be done. And we, as a teacher, as a counselor, sometimes I used to sit for actual admissions when I was a vice principal, and majority of the time we would counsel the students what the subject is, then try and find out what exactly the interest or what that child wants to do. Suppose the child says, no, I want to go for research, then one can guide them which are the areas in research. Do you want to do research in biology? Do you want to do research in chemistry? So many fields are available. When I chose my career, I was just told to fill up the form, likho botany, zoology, chemistry. And I wrote. And I did my BSc like that, right? I didn't know what career is awaiting for me at the end of my BSc or something like that. But now, as our young friend said, the social media is available. So one has to do the self-evaluation. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What do I have where I can exploit that as much as possible? For example, she mentioned about finance. So do I have a finance? If I don't have a finance, then can I get finance? Can help come? Which are the areas from where the help would come? Are the scholarships available? So second thing, what she pointed out was do the research. So self-reflection. One needs to write down your pluses and minuses, work on your pluses, strengthen your pluses, and work on your weaknesses. Try and get the support. That would be the first thing. Speak. She was absolutely on dot. I mean, I was amazed to hear what she was saying. Talk, she said she spoke to friends. So talk to people. I would say talk to people. There are lots of educated people around, lots of teachers. Your own teachers will help you out. Your own friends will help you out. Nowadays, everything is Facebook, right? WhatsApp University is at your fingertips. So that is possible. She mentioned putting questions on people with the like-minded options or something like this. That's another option. So counseling needs to be done. Student needs to be, if there are very few people who are self-counseled or self-made as Harshit is, but most of them don't know what exactly they need to do. So they have to identify what is their goal. If I want to scientist, what are my requirements? What is required to be a scientist? Now, science is a very huge and vast subject. So in science? You have to zero down your interest. You have to identify your goal and work around it. And as a teacher, it is our responsibility. We keep counseling people day and night. In fact, I'm tired since morning. I've been talking to parents and students and trying to convince them, don't go for a psychology. There's a boom for psychology now after COVID. Everyone wants to do psychology. Everyone. In fact, my teachers today who finished the admission work and came and met me to update, one person said jokingly, sir, we should all learn psychology and give up all physics, chemistry, biology and only teach psychology. So I don't know what is the craze about psychology. Okay. But are you really interested in? So she was, I think, I'm really amazed. I can't stop praising this young girl here, that the way she has worked around, evaluated herself and found her career. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, basically, like to get our priorities straight.
Right.
Yeah. So, why are we joining the college? Is it for the infrastructure of the college, the name of the college?
Right. Absolutely.
Or what do we want to do with the career choice that the college offers?
Yeah.
Yes.
I often put a question to them, is your career important? Is more important, or it is a college important for you? And very few people will say, no. Yeah, if you are not giving me this subject, then I will go choose another college. No, they want to come to St. Xavier's just because the college has a name and brand, right? And I keep telling them there's nothing in the building as such. It is the people who make the college. And there are n number of colleges which are good colleges. Many colleges in Mumbai are autonomous. Every college will have a 50% staff. I take an average, okay? 50% staff are excellent and 50% staff are good. Or some of them, even that 50 will have an average staff. Okay. So it is a student who makes the career themselves. You have to put in your soul and heart to make your own career. And use the opportunities provided by the institution. How you exploit those opportunities, how you build on those opportunities is important.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Talking about finances, I would like to ask Sumit now that you have been guiding students regarding how to take financial decisions when it comes to choosing the right career. So, if you could tell us, some steps towards financial management when you wish to choose a particular career.
I'm audible. I'm getting a constant. Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah. I think at 12th grade, sometimes it can be very difficult to understand the finances, especially in our country where we are so cocooned and parents are so involved. Not just at 12th, even at later, like till graduation, they're so involved. So it becomes very difficult for students to realize that what is the implication and how the real world feels. Most of the times, I think parents are going to be paying for their education and kids don't realize the implication of that. We still have a very, very small population which actually takes up loan for their education, who are really worried about it. At master's level, we definitely see that a lot more people are financing it by themselves or taking loans on themselves and studying ahead, maybe MBA or maybe an MS abroad as well. And that's where we see that people are making a lot more prudent decisions, because I feel they have that skin in the game. That time they start looking at it from the return on investment perspective. Should education be looked at that way? I would again divide this depending on where you come from. If you are coming from a affluent family, or if you're coming from a family for whom this amount might not make such a big difference, yeah, go ahead with what they can afford. I would not shy away from saying that. But if you're coming from family who has to break the bank to go for education, if your parents have saved for their life to go for you to go and take that education, I think it's responsibility of you to make sure that you're making a prudent choice to see how you can actually put that money to the best use, and look at how your return on investment is. Most of the people look at education as an investment, and it should be seen that how can the returns be post that investment. So I would say that again, what Harshi did or what Dr. Shinde mentioned, I think it's fantastic. You need to be very clear of why you are doing this thing. Why are you doing this course? Why do you want to study? Where you want to study? Why you want to study? What you want to study? If you have that clarity, it becomes much easier for everything else to come. Even the finances will start making a lot more sense once you have clarity of why you are doing certain course. What I constantly tell students is that think about it as a path, that you want to reach over here and you are over here right now. How does this specific course help you achieve your goal to reach here? And that will give you a lot of clarity. If you're not able to identify that, take a step back, talk around, do more research, and it's absolutely fine to be confused at that age. I'm sure, I don't think a lot of us have such great clarity where we can see what I'm going to be doing maybe 20, 50 years down the line. It's fine, but you need to have some kind of direction with you. And it's absolutely fine to even change the direction maybe after spending a few years in your career and you think that this is not the best thing, I want to change. It's fine, but make a very conscious, informed choice and understand that there is money involved. Someone is paying for that education. Try to pay it yourself if you can. That's the best thing to do. Take a loan so that you have that skin in the game. You know that you need to pay it back, and this is not coming cheap. And you don't waste your time, effort, money. That's extremely important. So my choice is always that make an informed choice. Do look at what you are able to achieve after your course as well, and see the trajectory, see the path of how you're able to make that return on investment. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on this.
Right. Thank you, Sumit. So talking about finances, so this really leads to a lot of stress and all of that. So, I would like to ask Dr. Saida about this. How do you think the young generation are coping with the stress related to choosing a career now, when there are so many options available? Is there any specific pattern among young adults which you see, when they come for guidance towards you, regarding career choices and all of that? If you'd like to shed some light on that.
Thank you so much for the question, and thank you so much for having me here to begin with. And to all the audiences who've joined us on Zoom and who are also watching us live, hopefully some of us that we some insights or points that we share are beneficial to everyone. While I completely agree with what all the three speakers have said, I am also going to point out that all of us may not have the insight or the courage to make a decision in terms of what I want to do and what I can do, right? So I tell people that that the pressure that everybody kind of puts on us, that make the right choice. I'm going to tell you that it doesn't matter what age group you are, whether you're a student making a career choice, whether you're a parent trying to help your child, whether you're an adult or even an older adult. The pressure of I must make the right choice is something that also kind of may mislead us, and in fact pressurize us into making not such a great choice, right? There is no such thing as the only right choice. Make the right choice for now, what you think is good for you, for your present, and maybe like your immediate future. It's good to have plans, it's good to have a focus, but in case if you decide that, okay, this is, I thought this will work out, it's not working out, it's okay to go back to the drawing board. To roll with the punches really, and not be pedantic about it. Okay, this is what I must follow, right? Yes, if I have the privilege and I can choose between a course and a career, or if I can choose between knowledge or experience, great, wonderful. The world is my oyster. I don't have like a set timer on when do I need to decide what kind of a situation, right? So it's important for us to not get bogged down with so much of pressure, especially when spending on education is also looked at as an investment, which is true. I could maybe spend this much money somewhere else, maybe, but if I'm going to spend that money in my career, I also need to look at it in terms of an investment, not only in terms of the monetary investment, but also in terms of my time and the efforts I need to put in, right? So when we want to make a choice, and that you don't need to be 100% sure of it either, right? And if you don't know what to do, it's okay to take a lot of suggestions and then maybe narrow it down. I famously share this with everyone that I'm a doctor by default and a psychiatrist by choice, because kuch samjha nahi ki kya karne ka, so I said ki chalo, for the time being, let's finish MBBS and then sochenge. So, and alhamdulillah, that worked out pretty okay for me, isn't it? And but I also know a lot of people who genuinely were interested in medicine or engineering when I was young, so many years ago, and they were really interested in it. They really worked hard for it. I stumbled into it in that sense, isn't it? But they didn't like it later, and thankfully they had the courage, and some of them also had family support and social support for them to choose and change that career. So be brave, but be you, but definitely don't be bound by certain choices. And if you do feel that you're feeling the pressure of making the right choice or the definite choice, there's always, and if you feel that you're getting varied and confusing suggestions from family and friends and everything, maybe go the professional route. Get an aptitude test. The aptitude test is going to test the battery of interest, your aptitude for something. Like, I really would have wanted to be a painter, but I cannot draw a straight line to save my life, right? So while I may have interest in something, I may not have aptitude for it. And that's not a personal failing. And, and also, yes, I do know the millennials and the Gen Z have made a career out of monetizing hobbies, but we don't necessarily need to do that either. I'll still doodle a little bit here and though it's never going to sell like a Picasso, but I don't need to monetize it. So I don't have to feel that pressure. And the whole pressure that we put on people that, oh, if you enjoy your work, you're never going to work a single day of your life. So that also adds pressure. You know what? It's okay if you choose to become a government clerk somewhere and that's not your life's calling. That's fine. It doesn't mean that all your satisfaction and joy has to come from a career. You could have other motivations for it, right? That I wanted this kind of a lifestyle, or I want to settle in this particular place, or I want to earn this much kind of like revenue. So you may have other reasons for choosing a career or not choosing a career, and they're all perfectly okay. So ultimately, yes, I'm going to say that whatever you're trying to do in life, whether that's a career or something else, ask yourself, can I do this? Do I want to do this? Do I have to do this? And if any of those say yes, then figure out, how do I do this? What's the strategy, right? And there's no such thing as that, oh my God, I should have done this last year. That's all right. Thankfully, we've socially normalized taking a gap semester or a gap year. We've normalized all of that. So I think let's take advantage of those privileges, that the social conformity that we went through, ke itne marks milenge to science mein jana hai, itne marks milenge to BCom karna hai, aur itne marks milenge matlab tum buddhu ho aur arts karna hai, right? Now people like Harshi have told us and shown us that you don't have to be buddhu to take humanities. In fact, you have to be really smart to take humanities, isn't it? So those barriers have broken, and so we need not shackle ourselves with that. And like I said, if you think that you are confused, take professional help. Nothing wrong with it. If you think you're getting anxious because of it, take professional help. Nothing wrong with it. Go hound the school counselor. Go hound the teacher that is more empathetic. Take help wherever you get. And helping yourself is one of the best things you can do. And never get scared of making a mistake, because that increases our anxiety. It's okay if I make a mistake. You know what? I'm going to pick myself up, try to fix the mistake, and I'm going to learn something from it. So yeah, there are lots of people around you who are going to be helpful. Identify them, ask them for help, and ultimately be happy where you are today. Even if you want to change where you want to be tomorrow, that's perfectly fine.
Also, if you could tell me what's the role of parents and educators in this, in this stressful situation which the students go through. So what can they do to support their children and the students?
So parents and educators do keep the children first. Unfortunately, that's not always very reflected in the words they use and the things they may be doing. Like if a child comes back with a report card and it would be a little disappointing, maybe right now is not the time to really say that, "Arey, ye kya kar liya," right? So maybe let that child also settle with that child's or student's disappointment, maybe, or fear or worry and all of that, and then come back and say that, okay, this happened, right? How did this happen? How did we come here? Maybe a conversation to have sometime else. Okay, now what are we going to do? What is the next step? And don't talk down to the person, talk with the child and the student, help them figure out what they want instead of telling them what you think that they should be doing. Because the whole idea of education is empowerment, right? And empowerment to make good decisions for yourself, empowerment to recognize what you're thinking and feeling and what kind of decisions you want to make. So if parents and educators, they do that kind of teamwork, and when they are talking with the children and for the children, and if they keep that in mind and not really allow themselves to just act upon their emotions, they may be feeling anxious and that's why they may be scolding the child, or they may be feeling worried or hurt that my child didn't do as much as I thought my child is doing, and that's why they feel. So not to kind of like displace your emotions and your behavior on the child, and you're an adult, handle and process them yourself and see what your child needs now, right? I mean, that's what all parents and educators want. They want to identify what a particular child might want, whether they need glasses to read, or whether they need special education, or whether they need braces, right? And we try and provide them for that, isn't it? So why is it that our reaction to their results or our opinions about their careers also need to be something that is invested in me and not really invested in the child, right? Also, ultimately, if I want my child to make the right decision so that my child is happy, then that should factor in as well. Of course, guide your child. Of course, give your opinion. But don't give your opinion in the sense that I'm telling you, you must do this. This is good for you. And don't give your opinion in the sense, I'm telling you this, you make your decision, right? Both extremes, that where you're helicoptering the decision or saying that it's all on you, that can feel either suppressing or abandoning, right? So you want to try and like be there with the person and tell the person, I'm going to hold your hand through this, and let's do the right thing for all of us and figure out what might be a good fit. And you know what, at the end of the day, don't worry about it. If we therefore see a problem, we're going to go ahead and sort it out together. So that kind of confidence is something that we hope and wish the educators and parents can bring about in their, instill that in our children by changing our behavior patterns if required. I hope that answers.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. At this point, I would also like to announce to the participants that, we can add our questions in the chat box, and, we'll pick it up from there at the end. Thank you. Okay, and I would also like to ask Dr. Shinde now what is the difference between job and passion in terms of prospects after finishing the course? What are the job prospects after we finish the course? And some people choose passion, some people choose a job, but then what do you think?
I would just put it this way, right? Teaching is my job, but passion is to practice what I've learned in the field. I'm a botanist, so I teach botany in the class. But I enjoy my botanical knowledge, my experience more in Sanjay Gandhi National Park when I am talking to people, when I'm showing trees, talking about trees and plants to the students or lay people kind of thing. So that's the basic difference between job and passion. Okay. So if you choose your career in your passion, then I think it works better, that you love something to do and you build on that and use that as an opportunity to even earn your bread and butter. Okay. So you need to find a balance between both, using passion for the job to earn your bread and butter. Yeah.
Right. So a mixture of both,
Yes.
that could give us the satisfaction, money as well as
Yes,
doing what you love.
you cannot deny the fact that you can survive only on passion.
Yes.
Okay, you will need money to do all your household things, etc. Even to educate yourself, your own need, staying, accommodation, food, everything. So you'll have to work out in such a way that you develop your passion, and if you can get a job in your own passion, nothing like it. Then that is an opportunity to improve your expertise in the passion itself. So I also learned photography because I realized that if I'm a botanist and if I'm in the field, if I learn a photography, I think that is an interesting thing. That is a passion I developed. Then I started using that so selling my plant and birds, wildlife photographs, making revenue from this. So you have to, put these together and build on that. Okay. If I just thought that, okay, I've done my master's in botany, I'm going to teach botany and end of it. Well, I would have ended up just like, some normal teacher, wait for retirement and finish it off. But now after retirement, I have plenty of options opened up that just giving up the teaching and doing any some career or completing my remaining passion work in the nature or with the nature. I can do a lot of work, lot of things, number of things I can carry on and do it. So students who come here, they are experts in various kinds of things. One needs to identify what is your passion and can that be your career.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Sumit, you want to say something? Yes.
I would just like to add one more thing on that thing, is that one big important difference is going to be discipline. So at any job, you're going to have discipline. Discipline will be required. Passion is great. You need to continue with discipline to make a career out of something, of your passion. Whatever you like. I can be telling you that there will be a lot of times when you don't feel like doing that. Be the most passionate thing you're about. But then you need to be disciplined if you really are expecting to make a career out of it, if you're going to be monetizing it, because there are people who are going to be dependent on you. And if let's take the simplest example of cricket. Some people love playing cricket, but if you're not disciplined about it, you can't expect to have a long career in cricket without discipline. So that goes with everything. Just give you an example of that. So one thing I would want to add to just for all the students who are listening, that don't romanticize this passion thing. It's great to have that, but make sure that you're disciplined with whatever you're doing. There's nothing like an overnight success you're going to get because of just something. You'll have to put in your hard work.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Also, I would like to ask you, during our registration, there were a lot of questions from students saying that they're very confused about their career and, what to choose. So with your experience, have you seen students changing their preference of careers later on? And would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, that happens a lot of times. How many of people on the panel, working panel, they started the same thing which they're still doing? I don't think so. A lot of times you change careers, you get more things about you get to understand a lot about the world while you're growing up. You get to know a lot about yourself. I did hear Hershey mention about self-awareness. I still feel that I still am struggling a lot, and I think I'm on a constant journey to know myself. And I'm sure a lot of people are also in that thing, and you're constantly knowing new things. There are a lot of new careers which come up. A lot of people right now, let's say, working in digital marketing, I don't think it existed 10, 15 years back, right? And now a lot of it. So maybe the core skills were there, which was similar. Maybe core skills from two different fields come together to form another field. It's fine. It happens. It happens quite often than we expect. So everyone, as you are growing, just make sure that you're making more informed choices. This is, I don't see this to be such a big concern that you have to chalk out your whole life today and make sure you follow on that same path. No, when you are growing, the process of growing up is to know more and to understand and to change and align yourself to what you are what you are liking, what you find as your purpose. So it's fine, I think.
Okay.
Just a second. So I actually thought of, I'm sorry about kind of butting in here, but when I recently, like a couple of years ago, when I turned 40, my girl gang had this meltdown, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, oh my God, life is over sorts. So I actually was at that time in the process of changing careers a little bit. Like I went from active reporting to teaching and editing and all of that. So in one moment of high optimism, I actually said, and I thought it works pretty well, is that I have done 20 years of one career and I'm 40, which means I have another 20 solid years of work left, which means I could probably give a shot to another career for a long time. So, I kind of tried to make it look as if it is like a fun thing and we should feel like we're 20 and not 40 at the moment. So that was my way of dealing with too many changes that I had to do at one point, So I think it is very good to think that, yes, you can still do something, even if you're changing track, even if you're learning something new. I took teaching tests and all, like I had to appear for UGC NET and all if I had to teach, right? So to study for that, to appear for those tests after 20 years of working was not easy, but it worked. I mean, so I think if you kind of a little bit trick yourself into thinking that, yes, there's a lot of time left to do different things, I think it works. Yeah, sorry, Shireen, carry on. Yes.
I have to butt in here because you don't have to trick yourself into it, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, a wrong way of looking at it. You never ever trick yourself or manipulate yourself or lie to yourself. Like the world may gaslight you. Why are you gaslighting yourself?
Correct.
So
I agree.
figure out that, okay, what is a rational way of looking at it? And then you may want to point out more positives about the decisions that you've taken, and then see whether that, that kind of fits well. So yeah, no tricking. Being positive and looking forward to something, that may be a better way of doing it.
Yeah. So Prachi, should we take questions?
Yeah, please. Yeah, we don't have much time. We have about 15-20 minutes max. So please take the questions. You can just read out the questions from the chat and yeah.
So Maria Pereira has asked for a suggestion for a counselor where we can do an aptitude test to understand the strengths and weaknesses of our child and a career path depending on his strengths. I think this is directed to Dr. Saida, maybe.
Right. So thank you so much for that question. So Maria, when we're talking about like a proper aptitude test, it has different aspects of it. It can be an interest battery, it can be your personality traits, it can also be like a rough estimate of your IQ and other aspects. And based on all of those, then there would be a report that is generated. These tests are usually done by either vocational guidance experts or clinical psychologists or both. A lot of schools and colleges conduct these tests for their students in 8th, 9th, sometimes very rarely in 10th grade as well. Having said that, if you know of a psychological center or a psychologist nearby, you can ask them if those services are available. Of course, there would be a fee entailing with that, but they'll also kind of give you guidance based on these reports in terms of which courses you might want to look at. Of course, this is we're talking about India. Of course, there are domestic as well as international guidance courses and people who are doing career guidance as well. If you can't find anybody else, or if you think it's very expensive and everything, most in Mumbai at least, most hospitals with a psychiatry department also has a psychology department where there's a clinical psychologist available, and most of them also do career guidance. So the tests, and you can get a report. If nothing else, hit us up. We'll try and refer you to somebody near you. But if your school or your college can conduct something like that, that would be great, because then everybody will benefit. Of course, depending on where it is and what it is, it could be challenging, but don't fall into the online this test and that test kind of a thing, because they're not validated and they might not give you the most accurate information. So best of luck with that.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, Dr. Shinde.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform the person who has asked the question that St. Xavier's offers such tests. I think we start them in month of April, the entire April, May, June, they are still going on every alternate days. If you look at our website, www.xaviers.edu, and search for counseling, we do have a counseling center, qualified person who looks after that. And it's full. I mean, you have to take an appointment in advance and come for the test. There is also, I mean, they conduct two types of tests, one after 10 standard and one after 12 standard. These tests are in English. Then next to my college, there is a government counseling center, just adjacent building, and they do the tests in Marathi, the local language. So you have two institutions next to each other at CST who offer these facilities.
Thank
so
you,
I also
Doctor.
wanted to share this. This happened recently, a couple of days ago. This young man comes to me for other purposes, and I was just, oh, you're doing everything is great. You're in the 11th grade, and he's doing an international course. So he plans that after 12th high school, he wants to go abroad and study. But he, for whatever reason, his school didn't tell him, or he didn't realize, or the parents didn't realize. He didn't know what to do and when. So I was like, okay, you're going to have to start sending transcripts, and with your predictable marks, you're going to get admissions, and you want to figure out, because he didn't want to do a SAT exam or something like that. So sometimes, when we are only focusing on children who from SSC and ICSE and CBSE, we are also, there are a lot of students who may be doing Cambridge or something else, and they may want to switch after 12th to something internationally, domestically, or even if they're going abroad, they wouldn't know that what kind of, they have to write an essay for admission purposes. So there can be a lot of confusion for those kids as well. And then sometimes they could fall into questionable guiding agencies who may actually be working for international industry universities as an agent, and then only guide them there. So the parents kind of also want to be aware and informed before taking guidance from these kind of people. Some of them are really legit and they do a good job. I'm not saying that, but every industry has some bad apples. So let's not worry, but let's be informed.
Thank you, Doctor. The next question, I would like to direct it to Dr. Shinde. The question is from Shatrupa. It's regarding how, when we talk about education and career, mostly the focus is on students and parents and, educators. But what role do other stakeholders have, like the media, who is, constantly shining the spotlight on toppers and how many hours they studied, or later at college level on salaries of top engineering or MBA institutes? So how do the other stakeholders,
So look at the, lately a lot of this, I think it's Lok Satta or Maharashtra Times, I don't remember exactly, but they have been coming up with the, they're going to schools from rural area and coming up with success stories with very weak financial background, very tough financial or the living conditions, and how these children actually do so well. So not that entire media houses or the whole media is portraying only the toppers, etc. But these newspapers are also doing this, and they are actually appealing people. They are opening a bank accounts for these children who needs financial support, and opening bank accounts and providing those details in the newspaper. One can choose a child and say, okay, I will, donate 10,000 or 20,000 or whatever it is. So at the end, they declare that so and so has, and then they keep a follow-up. The best is what has happened to a child whom they sponsored 2 years back. Where is the child now? So there's a follow-up happening. They're looking at that person, finding it out what that person is doing now, whether the person still needs help or now person is managing his or own education. So media can play a very significant role, not just portraying the best toppers or kind of thing, but also the students who are doing they're good students, they're not toppers, they might be 80% or 70%, but in a very tough condition, so the media, absolutely, social media can play a big role in this. The newspapers can play a big role, and the society should bring out such examples and promote them. The society should come forward and help these kind of children. So there comes the role of the society, not just the parent. So as a citizen, your title is your channel is Citizen Matters. So as a citizen, can we then identify such children and help them out? Can your Citizen Matters pick up such children and promote them, or appeal to people and say, look, here is a person who needs the help. It need not be financial help. That child might want some help related, some guidance. Maybe just the guidance in career counseling. Where does he or she goes after 10th standard? But career counseling happens only in Mumbai and cities. What happens to the rural areas, right? So I think the society needs to reach to those marginalized people and educate them. So that definitely the other stakeholders have a better role to play there,
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, doctor. I think Shatrughan
Can I
wants to say
just,
something.
yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'd just like to come in with a follow-up question. Thank you very much. Very, very pertinent points raised by you. And also thank you, Sumit, for your response. I saw that on the chat window. But actually, I don't think I articulated my question very well. What I meant to say, and probably Dr. Saida can come in on this. What I meant to say is that these reports will always be there, right, about the toppers. And so I'm not saying that we can't just wish them away. But one is, yes, about the role of media, which Dr. Shinde just explained very well. But also when such things come out, for example, just 3 days back, and I shared this report with my colleague Prachi, there was, the results of one of the competitive entrance exams was announced, and there was a big feature on the topper who said that, how he had given up all other pursuits, and he was, even when, if he was mildly ill, he would make sure that he studied so many hours a day. Now, automatically, whether we want it or not, this creates a stress on the other students who are preparing now. So is there a way that the parent or the institution or the career counselor, or in general, all the people around him, is there a way that you would recommend that they can help them cope with this stress, or take it in the right spirit, take such reports in the right spirit?
Thank you very much. I think while the discussion was happening, I wanted to contribute about this. So thank you again for to answer that. While we want to celebrate children and their successes, and we also want to put them up as role models, which is a great idea. Having said that, there is, yes, a danger, especially on behalf of the adults, because we are supposed to be more responsible about creating this narrative that, okay, if this is the formula for success, right? What we also want to understand is that everybody is different, every person's how the brain pattern works, their study habits work. 10% of us are going to be people who are not going to be able to function very and focus very well in the mornings. That doesn't mean I'm going to be doomed for failure. So if I'm told that, okay, if you have social media, that means you're never going to get into IIT, but that's also not true, right? So we want to definitely, while see that, okay, these are usually things that people might want to do, and I might want to try them out, but to force that as, again, like a pattern that everybody must follow for success, and leave no space for individuality or even creativity for that matter, in terms of how do I study this same competitive exam and then be successful in it. So that would be doing a disservice. And when we do look at how I tell people is that, when you're looking at even universities admissions and even campus placement jobs, you're not only looking for transcripts and scores cards and results and reports and marks and toppers, they're also looking for other ways and leadership qualities that might not come from being very diligent only in academics, right? Leadership qualities will require being able to think out of box, having people skills and all of that. So for to say that, okay, certain things may have worked out for somebody who came number one, and maybe that achieving that number one would be that person's ambition. Great, no, nothing wrong with it. But doesn't mean that we all need to be forced into thinking that that's the only way to attain success. Success is, again, something that we definitely want to broaden our definition of. I'm not suggesting be less ambitious. I'm suggesting be ambitious for you in your own way. And define what success means to you. If you're going to, if you are aiming to get into a particular institute or a particular course, and whether you're the first one to enter or whether you're, let's say, the 50th to enter, but you're still there, right? So maybe that is, again, something that we want to focus on, and not to kill the spirit to reach a score is something that we would want to advocate to people. Again, the children themselves, the students themselves put in a lot of self-pressure these days. So while we used to combat parental pressure and peer pressure, what we also need to be aware of is the self-pressure. And if they feel that, okay, I'm supposed to give up social media if I want to get a good score, but I'm not being able to do this, that could generate a misplaced anxiety and guilt, which could lead to depression, which will then in fact interfere and hinder the progress instead of making it happen. So in fact, just the other day, again, last week, I had this young man who's in 12th. He's going for his competitive exams, but he's a footballer. He wants to play footballer. He doesn't think he's going to make the national team, but he definitely is good enough to play somewhere, and he wants to continue doing that. And no, we didn't put like a carrot or a kind of a stick kind of approach with it. But definitely when he recognized that if I want to do this, I also should be doing this. And when he made that decision, within a few months, there's a huge transformation that the parents are happy for him to go to football if he's also not going to really not care about his marks. So just a little bit of counseling and a little bit of direction from interested people like parents and like teachers and maybe like a therapist or a psychiatrist goes a long way in helping these kids. So we don't really have to rely on a set formula and don't have to become a sheep in the herd. And, thinking out of the box doesn't always hurt. And you could be, it's, pretty okay to be one of the gang, but at the same time, hold on to your uniqueness.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll just take a last question and direct it to Sumit. The question is, in this fast pacing and overload information, many students often say that we will be starting our own startup. And on the other hand, they are not mature enough to do so. What advice would you like to give on this? Do we have any panelists? Sumit, would you like to comment on this?
Sure. I think if you're going to start up, then I don't know when's the right time to do it. Right time is when you are ready. So there's no right time or right, but I agree about the maturity, and nothing hits harder than real world. So sometimes you just need that as well. So I wouldn't say that. Just make sure that you're not like, what I can say is that the opportunity cost should not be really high. You should try it out, but don't go into a situation where you go bankrupt or probably get a lot of debt on it. So don't do something like that. Try it out, get that maturity. How you can get that maturity, you need to figure that out for yourself. And I think it's a constant process. It's a learning, is a constant process. Evolution is a constant process. I'm sure even at 40, 50, we'll find that there are a lot of things which we need to know before it. So sometimes people just wait too long to start up as well. So that's also that. So there's no right time. Whenever you feel you're fine, you go ahead with it. Just make sure that you evaluate the risks involved and match it to your risk appetite. Again, not everyone can afford to leave a steady flow of income. Not everyone can put in so much of time, effort, money into something like this. So assess it for yourself. You're not mature enough. I agree, that will happen. Let the real world hit you.
Okay, thank you, Sumit. Yes, Harshi, I was just going to come to you if you want to add something. Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to add something that I really believe in taking baby steps. If a child is saying that he or she needs to have a startup, then let them have the experience of the real world. And as someone who just passed out from the school 4 years ago, I know there was not much knowledge given about finance, okay, in college, in school as well as college. So let them start managing their own finances, just like starting tuitions, or I used to take many orders. So at that time, I realized how to manage finances, how real world actually is, how harsh it is. So there can be two outcomes. Either the child will be motivated to do so and will understand the real world and will know that what are the conditions that I need to inculcate and be prepared for if I start my own startup. So in future, when he does his bigger projects, he'll understand that he'll be mentally prepared. And if he's demotivated, he will know the real world. He'll come in terms with the reality. And eventually, I feel that he or she can then start thinking about the startup once he knows about the real life situation. So I think taking baby steps is more important. Manage your finances first, then think about the startup. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshi. Harshi really talks like, one of the career counselors now. I mean, with the life experience that she has at such an early age. Good. Thank you so much, Harshi. Any last thoughts from any panelists?
So I just wanted to add that, when we're talking about startups and starting off early versus taking baby steps, and when I was talking earlier about self-pressure, there are a huge number of young people who come and say that, oh, I'm 21. What have I done? What have I got to show for myself? Look at this 21 and 25. And, if I am going to be successful by age 30, then I should have done all of these things. So that calendar is something that we need to kind of, put away. And just like Sumit also shared earlier, that no matter how old you are and, at different times of your life, you're going to learn different things. And the whole important part is that, am I doing better today than I was doing yesterday? Not so much, am I doing better than this person or that person or that person? So that kind of pressure is also something that we want to not really give into and look at it as if it's helping me, motivate me, not at all. And adulting looks very different in different generations. So in Gen Z, we see that, yes, they do require a longer period of time to be at home and to be taken care of by parents, all the while them being the generation that is the most informed and very quick and very informative in that, decision making is easier and great that way. So again, we can't really see that the young people today are going to have the same circumstances finances or should be able to make the same decisions the way we did maybe 20 years ago or even 10 years ago for that matter. So, so again, at the end of the day, the most important thing is figure out who you are, figure out what you want, figure out if it's good for you, and then figure out which is the best way of getting it. And best of luck to all of us here.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, so before I wrap up, a few of the highlights of this webinar, that I would like to say is, first of all, we should get our priorities right. The students should get the priorities right, what they want to do in life, and then manage your finances. And also, it's okay to be confused, It's okay to be confused. This is the time, and with some research and by talking to people, we can all just figure it out eventually. And so thank you so much for all your insights and for this helpful webinar that we had. Yes.
Yeah,
What is
I just yes, good one.
Right.
Sumit. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say before we wrap up and say goodbyes is that we'll put together an event report of this conversation, and we would also try to put out some resources which can be used by the readers here. So whether it is how to seek help for stress, or whether it is how to identify good resources for researching on careers itself, I'm sure Harshi will help us and Sumit will help us on those things to identify, like what Dr. Saida said, to identify verified sources, to identify good sources. So, and Dr. Shinde has already told us that, we could use St. Xavier's Counseling Center for that. So we'll put this together and we will share it in an event report later. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.